Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Canal Algérie's nightly news. On to the headlines. A technical team from the Sonalgaz group departs for Syria in line with the directives of the President of the Republic to assist in restoring the country's electricity infrastructure. Collaborative project between Algeria and Germany focused on sustainable municipalities concludes in Algiers. Discussions also take place on Algerian-Spanish cooperation aiming to streamline goods movement towards Europe. Algeria secures recognition from leading players in the global grain market, an achievement that highlights its forward-looking vision and strategic leadership during its presidency of the International Grains Council in London. Humanitarian convoys remain unable to enter Gaza, where nearly 2 million Palestinians face extreme shortages, and the World Food Programme warns of severe famine while the Zionist bombings continue. Welcome back. First off, and pursuant to the instructions of the high authorities of the country regarding the technical assistance for the rehabilitation of the electrical infrastructure in Syria, the CEO of Sonalgaz organized a preparatory coordination meeting for the technical delegation composed of 17 senior managers. This delegation is tasked with traveling to Syria to assess the situation and begin studies for the rehabilitation of the electrical installations on site as soon as possible. Let's have a listen.
هذه الفرقة هي متكونة من خبراء.
This team is made up of experts in all fields, whether transmission, distribution or electricity production. The process will take approximately 1 week, during which the real problems facing the electricity sector in our brotherly country, Syria, will be diagnosed, along with the instructions from us to find quick solutions in this sector. We have also discussed in the near future the possibility of training teams from our brotherly country, Syria, in Sonalgaz schools in Algeria, with the aim of taking care of them as soon as possible.
The Green Municipalities project marks a new phase in Algerian-German cooperation, blending local innovation with shared climate goals to promote sustainability, clean energy and good governance. Melissa Lila-Balaman explains.
Germany and Algeria are deepening their partnership through a bold new initiative focused on sustainable development at the local level. The Green Municipalities project rethinks how towns and cities can manage energy and the environment, aiming to break away from outdated energy models and embrace a more inclusive, forward-looking vision. At its core, this initiative is about more than technology. It is about two nations coming together to respond to the global climate crisis through collaboration, innovation, and mutual respect. The first step is to create local coordination points to bring everyone to the same table. Then we work on clear shared frameworks to guide their efforts. And finally, we're introducing digital platforms to simplify day-to-day municipal work and boost efficiency.
نبحث على إيجاد أو تطوير دي بلاتفورم نيميريك للعمل بهم ولتسهيل الأعمال على مستوى البلدية.
For representatives from both nations, the project carries significance beyond its technical dimensions. It serves as a model for how international cooperation can respond to pressing environmental and developmental challenges. Above all, it reflects a strong foundation of mutual trust and a shared commitment to sustainable progress. This is about protecting ecosystems, using renewables responsibly, and learning from each other. It is a chance to move forward together. Amid global shifts in energy and climate priorities, this initiative affirms Algeria's role as an active participant in the international green transition. It also illustrates how locally anchored approaches can effectively support broader national strategies founded on principles of good governance and sustainable development.
Algerian and Spanish delegations met in Algiers today to advance their economic partnership, focusing on improving trade routes to Europe. The plane aims to develop efficient logistics corridors, especially for agri-food exports, by speeding up processes and using the port of Barcelona as a key hub. Jamila Saiji and Manan Mahafa.
Algerian and Spanish officials met to strengthen trade ties, and that by developing more efficient logistics corridors and improving access to European markets. The focus is on building a solid partnership between Algerian ports and the Port of Barcelona, with the agri-food sector as a priority. Optimized distribution channels would give Algerian products faster, easier entry into Europe.
L'Algérie ont eu des relations historiques, commerciales, historiques.
The Port of Barcelona and Algeria share long-standing commercial ties. With Algeria developing strong sectors like agri-food and automotive, Barcelona could serve as a key gateway to Europe. Already a major hub for vehicle distribution, the port is well positioned to support Algerian exports and future manufacturing aimed at the European market.
De l'agroalimentaire.
And in order to reach these goals, key measures were proposed: digitization, streamlined customs and dedicated export corridors, all aimed at speeding up trade and boosting the competitiveness of Algerian products in the Euro-Mediterranean zone.
Comme première démarche pour commencer à travailler, comme ma directrice vient de dire, les choses, ça se passe dans la partie opérationnelle.
As my director said, real progress happens on the ground. We have already seen movement with a new Barcelona-Algeria link via Valeria. The next step is enabling truck transport, which is key for growing trade, especially in the food sector.
Terminer des camions bientôt.
On va développer plein de choses.
We are developing simple, effective solutions like short sea shipping, allowing trucks to travel by ship and go directly to factories once in Algeria, speeding up logistics.
Vont faire si que les camions ils pourront aller sur les navires.
And for their part, Algerian businesses see this as a real opportunity to boost exports and reach new markets.
L'Algérie est un marché qui intéresse beaucoup de.
Algeria is a market that attracts strong interest from Europe. The Port of Barcelona's outreach to Algerian businesses reflects this demand. Algerian operators are exploring ways to work more efficiently with the port, aiming for better planning, timely deliveries and smoother operations.
À travailler professionnellement avec l'Algérie.
This emerging partnership could redefine economic ties between Algeria and Europe, with maritime transport playing a central role in broader strategy for regional integration.
Algeria is making significant waves on the international scene, particularly in the realm of global food security, as it is currently leading the International Grains Council. Presiding over its session is indeed a clear testament to Algeria's growing influence. Melissa Kabesh tells us more.
This isn't just about presence, it's about pioneering change. Under its presidency, Algeria has transformed the International Grains Council into a forum for concrete action, advocating for a robust and systematic strategy for global food security and grain trade. Their vision centers on ensuring a more equitable and balanced international market, a vision strongly supported by the world's leading producers and exporters.
Algeria made a great contribution for the discussion for strengthening and have a partnership with the private companies and other international organizations. We, Japan, would like to take this opportunity to take over the law that was made by the Algeria.
So I think Algeria's leadership of the International Grains Council for the last year has been exemplary. There's been a number of initiatives that they've instigated, and for example, including the market reports in Arabic, which opens up the information to a whole new audience as well, which is very important because the information that IGC provides is critical and very important for global food security. So we thank Algeria for their service to IGC, and from International Grains Council's perspective,
they've done a tremendous job, especially in the issue of developing the dashboard that essentially was first done and piloted for Algeria. And Kenya is one of the countries that will benefit from this in developing a dashboard for the country so that we improve food security.
Algeria's impact isn't just strategic, it's also technological. They've introduced groundbreaking initiatives pushing for the development of a sophisticated trade and food security dashboard. This innovative tool, coupled with the integration of artificial intelligence into supply chain analysis and global trade forecasting, promises to revolutionize how we understand and manage the world's grain supply.
I am really impressed with the professionalism of how the Algerian presidency has handled this whole year, and what a wonderful conference this has been. All the people here, the amount of people, and the ones who've stayed right to the end because it's been so stimulating.
And that is where our cooperation with the International Grain Council and with the Algerian presidency of the International Grain Council comes in. So together we have the same goal of improving information quality, improving timeliness of the information, and overall contributing to the transparency on the global food commodity markets.
في ندوة المجلس الدولي للحبوب تخلق.
My attendance at the International Grains Council seminar creates a good opportunity to sign an agreement between the International Grains Council under the Algerian presidency of Mr. Oussama Salhi and the United Nations International Civil Service Commission under the Algerian presidency. It is a historic opportunity to enable International Grain Council employees to obtain the same wages and privileges as international employees.
Algeria's strategic push for food sovereignty and its commitment to being a reliable international partner are clearly yielding results. This proactive stance has dramatically expanded its geographic presence, particularly across Africa and Latin America. It's a strategic move that underscores a powerful message. When Algeria steps up to lead, it delivers.
On June 12th, at the Turin Chamber of Commerce in Italy, a strategic meeting was held, focusing on economic cooperation. Algeria Business Meeting 2025, building the gateway to Africa. This event was co-organized by the Algerian Embassy in Italy and local economic institutions, with the ambition of establishing Algeria as an essential gateway to the African continent. It focused on investment, logistics, energy, and agro-industry. In sad news, an Air India Boeing 787 crashed on Thursday into buildings in Ahmedabad, northwest India, shortly after takeoff for London, killing at least 290 individuals. Half of the aircraft crashed into a residence where doctors and their families lived. From the plane, 242 passengers, only one survived. The front of the plane and the nose wheel landed on the cafeteria where the students were having lunch just after takeoff. The plane, which was rapidly losing altitude, lost power before crashing into buildings and exploding in a fireball. Witnesses reported that 3 buildings were damaged. In New York, the A3 Plus group, which includes Algeria, Sierra Leone, Somalia, and Guyana, affirmed that a comprehensive political solution remains the only way to ensure security and stability in Yemen. The group also renewed its full support for the ongoing efforts of the Special Envoy, the Secretary General of the United Nations to Yemen, Hans Grundberg. Also in the diplomacy window of the night, the United Nations General Assembly adopted a New York draft resolution calling for a ceasefire in Gaza after 149 countries voted in favor of the resolution. 12 countries voted against it and 19 abstained. On the ground, Gaza slips deeper into a humanitarian nightmare. The blockade of aid and relentless violence are turning survival into an impossible task. With borders sealed, resources exhausted, and civilians caught between hunger and gunfire. International observers warn that the crisis is part of a deliberate strategy. Ms. Halila Balaman goes into details.
In Gaza, major border crossings have been shut since March. Life-saving aid, food, fuel, and medicine is being held at the borders while the people inside face growing desperation. Supply trucks are stalled at checkpoints, and inside the enclave, critical resources have all but dried up. 2 million people are now living in conditions that defy basic human standards. Clean water is scarce, food is limited, medical help is nearly impossible to find. According to UN data, Rafah, the scale of aid getting through barely reaches 10%. The World Food Programme warns of a hunger crisis affecting thousands, including over 70,000 children suffering from severe malnutrition. When aid does reach civilians, it often does so amid chaos and bullets. The cost of this breakdown is deadly. Last week in Rafah, 27 people were killed as they waited for a delivery. Days later, another 60 were killed near a distribution point. Aid organizations say that these are not tragic exceptions, but part of a broader pattern. Supply lines and gathering spots are being deliberately targeted. Many international observers argued that this is not just a consequence of war, it is part of a heinous strategy. Relentless airstrikes, mass displacement, and the ongoing blockade appear designed to push people out, break their will, and make life unsustainable. The aim is unmistakable: to clear Gaza of its population and erase the Palestinian presence from the territory. Starvation has become a weapon of war. Despite UN resolutions and urgent global appeals for ceasefire, the siege continues. As bombs keep falling, many are dying, not only from wounds, but from hunger, thirst, and complicit silence.
In both occupied territories and refugee camps, the Sahrawi struggle isn't only political, it's also cultural. The resistance lies in preserving an identity under threat, a vital part of their fight for independence. Manal Maafa with the full story.
Under Moroccan political and military pressure, the Sahrawi people are defending their identity not with weapons but through culture, protecting their language, traditions and way of life. It is a quiet but powerful form of resistance, pushing back against assimilation and asserting their right simply to exist. This cultural resistance shows the Sahrawi people's strong bond with their identity and heritage. Despite ongoing efforts by the Moroccan occupier, this front remains firm and resilient. Despite the challenges, cultural transmission persists in both refugee camps and occupied territories. NGOs and cultural rights groups accuse the Mahsen regime of systematically suppressing Sahrawi cultural expression. Our culture is different from others, especially from that of the Moroccans. We can share it, but we will never forget it or set it aside. We are known for our milhfa and darah, symbols of who we are. Morocco is trying to erase Sahrawi identity, our customs and traditions, but despite these efforts, we remain true to who we are, and we will continue doing all we can to preserve our culture. The Sahrawi culture has always impressed me with its resilience. Despite harsh conditions and constant Moroccan pressure, this people has preserved its identity, solidarity and dignity, even as it remains largely ignored by the international community. With few resources but strong resolve, the Sahrawi people have made their culture a powerful voice and a tool for asserting their presence on the international stage.
And with the rich Sahrawi culture, we end tonight's bulletin. Thank you for watching. Take care.